Today, I'll be doing a review of the brand new ADAM Audio T8V active nearfield studio monitors. The T8V is the newest addition to the T-Series from ADAM Audio. With the T-Series, they aim to provide professional-sounding studio monitors at an affordable price. In the box, you'll find the usual accessories, a power cord and a manual, as well as warranty information. The monitors come with a 2-year warranty, but you can extend that to 5 years by registering online. Once they're unboxed, you'll notice that, unlike some monitors out there, these monitors look really good, at least in my opinion. The build quality feels solid, and the cabinet itself is acoustically optimized to reduce unwanted reflections, with a beveled front panel, which also happens to look aesthetically pleasing. The logo is not illuminated. Instead, there's a green power light on the rear. Personally, I think it's nice to have an illuminated logo indicating that the monitors are on, but this is of course down to personal preference, and others might prefer this cleaner look. There's no auto on-off feature here, and you won't typically find that with professional monitors. It's something many budget monitors tend to have, though. Personally, I'm okay with not having that function, as I tend to find it a bit annoying. Now, let's have a look at some of the key features. The T8Vs have a 1.9-inch UART ribbon tweeter combined with ADAM Audio's HPS waveguide. In short, this means that they are not as picky about positioning as some other monitors because they'll have a wider sweet spot. Below that, we have an 8-inch woofer, as indicated by its name. The V stands for vertical because these are designed to be in a vertical position. Each monitor is biamped, meaning there's an individual amplifier for each driver. The woofer receives 70 watts, and the tweeter receives 20 watts. Culminating in 90 watts of total output for each monitor. The frequency response is quite impressive, ranging from as low as 33 Hz all the way up to 25,000 Hz. The crossover frequency is 2600 Hz. Maximum SPL per pair is 118 decibels at 1 meter, so these are capable of playing really loud. At almost 10 kilograms each, they're also quite heavy. On the backside, you'll find the bass port. The general consensus is that the rear port will help reduce chuffing noise. The trade-off is that you'll have to be more careful about placement. In my experience, though, as long as you don't push it right into the rear of the wall or the corner, then you'll be okay. Below that, you'll find the usual controls, such as high and low filters, which allow you to correct for just about any room. If you can't avoid placing it close to the rear wall, then you can somewhat correct for that here. There's also an on-off switch and a volume knob. I found it a little bit disappointing that the volume knob isn't notched, not even at the 50% mark. This can make it more difficult to perfectly match the volume. I just set mine to 50%, which is straight up, and left it there. In terms of inputs, they have balanced XLR and RCA. Note that there's a selector switch between TRS and XLR, so if you hook them up and don't get any sound, then flipping the switch will probably do the trick. So now that we have the basics covered, what do they actually sound like? Well, I've been using these for about a week now, and so far, I'm quite impressed by how they sound, especially considering the low price. About a year ago, I did a review of the smaller T7Vs. I used those for a couple of months and was particularly impressed by the clarity in the mid and high range. I did wish they had some more punch in the low end though. But to get that, you generally need larger woofers and more power. It's really as simple as that. Naturally, I was quite excited when I heard about the new ADAM Audio T8Vs, which have more power and a larger woofer. I just had to know what they sounded like, so I reached out to ADAM Audio, and they were kind enough to send me a new pair to review. The T8Vs go all the way down to 33 Hz, which is really low. In comparison, the 5-inch monitors that most people use will rarely go below 50 or 60 Hz. That means with such smaller monitors, you simply won't be able to hear what's really going on in the low end. That's why I tend to recommend larger monitors if you have a large enough room to accommodate them. It's simply much easier to mix low end when you can actually hear what's going on down there. Here's the T8Vs next to a pair of 5-inch monitors. As you can see, the T8Vs are quite large in comparison. Mixing low end can be difficult, so it's essential that you get an accurate representation of what's going on down there. The T8Vs do a great job in reproducing low frequencies, and when you crank up the volume, they really pack a punch. That's what I missed with the smaller T7Vs. The Yamaha HS8s, which I've been using up until recently, are well known for having a very solid low-end response, so I was eager to find out how the T8Vs would stand up to those. The ADAM Audio T8V is supposed to go down to 33 Hz, and they actually are 5 Hz lower than the HS8s. Numbers don't necessarily mean much, though, and ultimately it's how they actually sound that matters. After mixing with the T8Vs for some time now, I have to say that compared to the HS8s, they're evenly matched. They both have very good low-end response, and that's exactly what I was hoping would be the case. It's the one thing I felt could have been better with the T7Vs. Just like its little brother, the T8Vs also have great clarity, but in all honesty, I think the smaller T7Vs might offer slightly better mid-range clarity. That's not really surprising since these have larger woofers. Keep in mind that this is a two-way speaker, and the woofer is actually a full-tone speaker, and not just a dedicated bass woofer. Larger cones generally provide better low-end response, but smaller cones provide better mid-range clarity, so you'll always have to make a compromise there. If you want something that will excel in every way, you'll typically have to go for a 3-way monitor, and those will be vastly more expensive. Personally, I believe that 8-inch monitors offer the best compromise. The ribbon tweeter found in the T8V is what gives it such superb clarity in the high end. This is something that has trickled down from ADAM Audio's higher-end monitors. You won't typically find ribbon tweeters in this price range. Ribbon tweeters cannot easily be mass-produced, so they're often handmade, which means that they're also quite expensive to make. A ribbon tweeter has a larger surface area, and it's supposed to introduce less distortion than a typical dome tweeter. This should enable you to mix longer without getting ear fatigue, and that's pretty much what I found to be the case after using both the T7Vs and the T8Vs. I'm pretty sure that they've been listening to feedback from customers and decided to make a monitor with more power and better low-end response, aimed at producers who make bass-heavy music in general. To sum it up, the T8Vs deliver a solid punch, equal to that of the Yamaha HS8. When it comes to high-end, though, I think the T8Vs generally provide better clarity than the HS8s, which should make them well-suited for editing finer details. With these, I was able to hear finer details that I would usually have to switch to headphones in order to hear. Music should come out of your monitors exactly the way it comes out of your DAW, without any sugarcoating, and that's exactly what studio monitors are designed to do. A studio monitor will give you a flat frequency response, as opposed to hi-fi speakers, which will always temper the sound a little bit in order to sound better than the competition. That's why you should never use hi-fi speakers for mixing. The ADAM Audio T8V is both a good-looking and good-sounding monitor. It provides a solid low end combined with good clarity, which should make it a good all-around monitor for any producer. But I believe they will be particularly useful for EDM and bass-heavy music in general. Because they have a lot of power reserves, they're also capable of playing quite loud. It's hard to find a better-sounding 8-inch studio monitor at this price, so I can safely recommend these. You can find the Amazon link to the new T8Vs in the description below, as well as the T7V and the T5Vs. If you have a very small room and/or budget, or perhaps you have sensitive neighbors, then you might want to consider one of these smaller alternatives instead. I'm also sending links to some XLR cables and acoustic foam pads, which will help prevent unwanted vibrations from your monitors. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.